conditions got so slow that basically everybody was just playing hard tennis with these technology rackets, these powerful players, and smashing back and forth, running over the court. And Nadal, Djokovic were the epitome of this. 5 and 6 hour matches at the Australian Open and U.S. Open, and now people are starting to fall like flies. Women first, and the men. People are getting hurt everywhere, and the big players, that was the moneymaker right there. The big guys, the stars, were getting hurt. So something has to be done, and there's definitely been a concentrated effort in the last couple of years to speed up a little bit, at least the Australian Open, where they start the tennis year, and the last thing they need is such hard tennis to start the year. They need to ease in a little more. And to do that, you need to cut back the rallies a bit. And to help that, you can speed up the surface, but you've got to watch, or you're going to go back to that one-strike tennis. I always thought maybe put more air in the ball. I would love to see that because it's harder to control. So even though the rackets are powerful, I think off the ground, a very high compressed air ball, in other words, a lively ball, would be so hard to control that people couldn't just smack it. So they'd have to use more variety, more finesse. A guy like Nadal would hate it because he likes when it sticks on its string. The old U.S. Open ball used to be smaller and hard like that, like a little rock, and the ball just jump off its strings too fast. That's why he had a lot of trouble winning the U.S. Open. But now the U.S. Open ball is not like that now. But the problem, if you add more air, it won't be off the ground because everybody would have to be more finesse. That would work out okay. The problem's the serving. You throw that ball up in the air, you smack it with a lively ball. People like Isner and Karlovic would win almost every match, and then maybe just ace back and forth. Nadal might have 20 aces. 30 aces. It's a very complicated situation. What they've done is full with the rubber technology beyond anything I understand. That I'd have to be with the engineers to know what was going on. But from what I can tell and what I've learned is that this ball, while it's very dead, they maybe even have taken more air out of it, and they still have a heavy felt on it. They have it's a little smaller. It's not maybe quite as big as it was in the past, the Australian Open ball. It used to be a very big ball, but it's kind of come down. But the big thing is the rubber technology. It's such a resilient rubber, but with the lack of air, you have to watch. This thing could break on the hard court. You could just bust the core, and you'd be busting balls all over the place with the big hitting and everything on the hard court. But number one, it doesn't break, even though there's hardly any air in it. And when it hits, I've looked at super slow-mo video. It just stays decompressed or deformed a lot longer. I've looked at old video. I've looked at new video. It's amazing. The balls now decompress, stay like deconformed or whatever you want to call it, for a longer period of time, which leaves it staying on the surface a lot longer. So the bounce, the thing that makes it bounce is, besides the felt and the sand grabbing the felt and like ripping it and moving the momentum from sideways to vertical and making the bounce. The other thing that can happen is the spring back of the rubber. If it's a lively ball, which doesn't deconform too much and bounces right back, or even if it's a dead ball, but if it's dead plus a strong rubber like that, it'll just stay that way for a little longer. It just hits, flattens out, and then just stays lower that bit longer. It's not huge, and most people aren't going to notice this at all, but there's a lot lower bounces leading to equivocally faster tennis or more offensive tennis. It's not faster. And actually, U.S. Open's probably still faster, but there's a better chance for higher bounces at the U.S. Open. Anyway, I have a lot of this written down on my map, and I'll put that below. If you look under Australian Open, under my map, and this is a lot what's going on. Plus, I think they have reduced some of the top sanding. The underneath sanding on the plexi cushion is still pretty strong, but the top sanding's a little quicker, maybe a little less and a little finer stuff that's faster. So you can, if you hit it real flat, again, it helps you to get through the court. So, there will be plenty of rallies still because it's not that fast. It's not actually faster, but there will be a lot more chances for offense and guys like Federer who take it quick, move it around, and have variety. And you can do drop shots because it's a deader ball. These are the guys that are going to have a lot of success. But don't count out a guy like Nadal because Nadal's such a great athlete. He's changing his game once again. So Nadal, but he's playing a different game. He's gonna have to. He already started that last year, even more so from what I'm seeing this year. So it's going to be interesting, and there's possibly more upsets because if someone's aggressive and hitting the heck out of the ball on a certain day, and by the way, the weather's going to make a big difference. When you have the hotter temperatures, you're definitely going to get a little more liveliness in the ball. It may bounce a little higher, but it will also go a little faster. And then when it's deader, it will stay a little lower, but it will be a little slower. So this is what you have. And with the conditions changing in Australia, it's going to be some crazy stuff going on.